We seek refuge in God from the outset Satan. In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful. Peace and salutation upon Prophet Muhammad and his progeny. Once again, welcome you to our show today, which is called Quran and Today's Life. As you're following your show, we are following and we are pursuing the case, or the topic is called the role of social conduct in behavior of people. So that is why we have invited one of the scholars from the Islamic Seminary of Qom, who is very expert in this case, and he's going to tell us more detail about this. So I would like to introduce His Eminence, Mr. Hujjatul Islam al-Muslimin Dawoodi. And let's go to him and say salam and know him more. Assalamu alaikum, welcome to your show, and thanks for your time. Please have your introductory words.
Assalamu alaikum. I again thank you for inviting me to the program. Inshallah, we are going to have a good discussion together.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. In previous session, we have talked about the society and how we have to behave with people and conduct with them. So today, the rest of the questions we're going to follow and know about them more. So the first thing I'm going to tell you, and I ask you please to respond back and tell us more detail about this, is about what is the responsibility of Muslims to other groups of the society. For example, we Muslims, we have one special responsibility and task when we are facing non-Muslims, Muslims, any human being. So how are you going to elaborate and tell us the detail about this case? Thank you.
In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, many thanks to God that we've got time to continue our program again. Generally, we were talking about the duties of Muslims in the society, because Muslims, as well as the other groups, are living in different societies, and these societies are different. Somehow, this is only a Muslim community, or I say the whole country or the society are Muslims, but somehow it is different. Before we go to this, I want to mention that in Islam, these usual geographical borders are not considered for the Islamic teaching, because there is no difference between people in Islam. No black, no white, no difference completely. Just say we are brother in our faith, of course. But a person as a Muslim who is living in a society, how should he conduct to the others? What should be his behavior in the society? Referring to the Holy Quran's teaching, we find out many different things. Nowadays, it is somehow famous that the Holy Quran contains lots of teachings about the terror. It is usual, as you know, and some bad behaviors or bad words about the Quran is mentioning in the people's eye and so on. But we know, referring to the Holy Quran, I mean the Surah number 29, the verse number 46. It refers to a very, very beautiful ayah. How a Muslim, as a Muslim, should conduct to non-Muslims in his society. In this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, La tujadilu ahl al-kitab. Who are ahl al-kitab in the ayah of Holy Quran, in Holy Quran's point of view? It says, do not argue with the people of book. I mean the Christians, Jewish, or so on. It is very, very important that if I, as a Muslim, want to live in a country, we should live peacefully together. These are the teaching of Holy Quran. The Holy Quran says, La tujadilu, means do not argue. With whom? Ahl al-Kitab, the people of book. We say Christians, Jewish, or so on.
So this argue, you mean just to not have, we can say, to not have conflict or quarrel, or it means what exactly means, or not, shout on them or do not have dispute with them? What is exactly
Of
this?
course, yeah. Somehow we are living in a completely academical, society, like a university. Okay, in the university, sometimes I have different ideas from you. I give my reasons and you give your own reasons on a special subject. So this argue doesn't mean, some discussions like this. But do not argue with Ahl al-Kitab, with the people of book, means you should be friend with them. You should be friend with them. Do not talk that your idea is this, my idea is different, we cannot live together. No. You know nowadays in many different countries, Muslims and non-Muslims are living peacefully together. For example, you suppose in some countries that majority of people are Muslims. Okay, how do they conduct the non-Muslims? It's completely peacefully.
But how today, you see, in Western society, some countries, they accuse us, we Muslims, we believe that we have to kill non-believers or we have to fight against them. So this thing shows that it is something false or it's not true. So would you please let us more, because deeply we want to understand this case.
I remember something that a person who hasn't met one of the Islamic countries yet came to a Muslim country. We were talking together. He asked me a question. He said that nowadays we see some terrorists in the world, okay, and they say that these terrorists are Muslims. So it is the teaching of Islam. I asked him a question, responding to his own question. I asked him if a person who belongs to a special community, I do not say his religion or so on, he starts to tell lies. Yeah, can I say that these people who are living in this group all are liars? Yeah, we cannot say that they are liars. Yeah, because just one person is not following the others. We do not say that the Muslims people do not do any bad actions or so on, but we want to talk about the teaching of Holy Quran generally, because in different societies nowadays, people think that the terrors are because of the teachings of Holy Quran. It is not like this. The Holy Quran says, "La tujadilu ahl al-kitab." Do not argue with them, but or do not have a conflict. We shouldn't have the conflict between each other, because the Holy Quran prevent us from being such. This verse is continued with some other words. لا تجادلوا أهل الكتاب إلا except but إلا الذين ظلموا منهم, except those that they are tyrant. It would be different. Of course, it is not related to his or her own religion. Everyone who wants to be a tyrant, who has an oppression against the others, okay, we can argue, we can have a conflict or somehow maybe a fight, no problem, because someone is oppressed, another one is tyrant, so we should do the best.
So you mean Holy Quran is not agree with atrocity and just wants to stop atrocity and do not let tyrants to anyone, even as a Jew or a Christian or non-believer, no difference. So no tyrannic action or something like this.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the society, it is related to the human's nature. Not only we say that this is because of our religion, this is to the human natures that the people like justice. To be just is accepted for every person, not only Muslims. It is very important. So in this case, Holy Quran says, "La tujadilu ahl al-kitab." Do not argue with the people of book. "Illa billati hiya ahsan." Just if you want to talk to each other, this discussion must be in the best way. "Illa billati hiya ahsan."
Is it because we are, believers that God wants
No,
all the believers?
it's because we are human, of course.
Okay.
Because we are human. It's
So
not related.
The
again.
first element is humanity.
Humanity, exactly.
Okay.
Because the Holy Quran didn't mention that because you are Muslims and they are non-Muslims, okay, be like this. Most of the societies, the people are believers. The majority of the people. Of course, there are some exceptions too. But anyhow, this is the general idea of Holy Quran, how to conduct non-Muslims in a society.
At the beginning, you point out about racism and discrimination. Quran says we do not believe in discrimination and racism. We have we can say we operate in this. Who is from the ethnicity and something like that. So, what is the first element here that God Almighty has put an eye on it? What thing, for example, the first element is, very important in the eyes of Allah?
I think, to be honest, in general teaching of Holy Quran, the human being must be fair. Moral actions and moral activities are accepted by everyone. So these are the recommendations of Holy Quran that inshallah, if we have time, we are going to talk about them either too.
To be fair and to follow the human nature is the first element according to saying of Holy Quran?
Yeah. Most of the teaching of Holy Quran is referred to the ethics, and moral activities. This is the religion that comes, I mean all of the religions, they come to recommend people to be fair.
Thank you very much. So I think it's very good, but let's have a short intermission and break. We'll continue the topic with more detail. Okay, dear viewers and audience, please keep on watching. We'll be back after a short break. Now we are back. We are talking about how to conduct with Christians and Jews according to Holy Quran. Our expert was telling us about this detail more. So let's go back to Hujjatul Islam wal Muslimin Dawoodi to know more about this case. Okay, thank you, sir. So you were elaborating more about this, how to conduct with Jew and Christian. It was very nice. We understood something very good. So what I want to know, is it just the only verse in Holy Quran, or we have a lot of verses in Holy Quran in this regard?
Yeah, good question, of course. Of course, different verses, in Holy Quran. But, the number is not very important because we are talking about the teaching and the view of Holy Quran on this, subject. It is very important that how does Holy Quran, how does God take a look at, this, issue? Should I conduct to the people peacefully or no? Every non-Muslim must be killed. We say that teaching of Holy Quran says, even with one verse, no problem. Just one verse of Holy Quran is enough for us to obey it. Yeah. So we say, the Holy Quran's point of view says, La tujadilu ahl al-kitab. Do not argue with them. We go further and we find out the others ayah too as well. The verse number 8 in the Surah 60. The Holy Quran mentions, I first say the Arabic words, and after that I will translate it.
It's very good.
لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين ولم يخرجوكم من دياركم أن تبروهم. This is the emphasis of me. The Holy Quran says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that God do not prevent you from being friend with them. do not prevent you from being friend with them. With whom? Those that do not, have the fight with you, and they do not, send you out of your cities or so on. So to be friend with those who are not Muslims is one of the teaching of Holy Quran. Yeah, it means if I want to live peacefully together, we should conduct to each other. It is a mutual, issue. The religion is something extra over it. If I want to live with a person in a home, you suppose husband and wife, they should agree on something, of course, to live together. A Muslim and a non-Muslims like this. So if one of them does not like it, it is of course something else that we are not going to talk about it. But generally the Holy Quran says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do not prevent you, do not forbid you being friend with the non-Muslims.
So that indicates even we can have transactions and deal with them to, for example, to do business with them, to have, for example, have our education with them as well. So another thing comes to my mind, I don't know if it's related to our topic or not, is about, the marriage. Is it possible for them? So you said we can live together peacefully, and we can have transactions and deal and business and so on and so forth. So how about, marriage? So could you please let us know?
I think the case of marriage is a little bit different, of course. It has got its own regulations and rules. I mean, there are some special laws that can a Muslim get married with a non-Muslim or so on. Because marriage is directly related to the, people's behavior and the children and their future or so on. It is a little different, of course. It has got its own, law and regulations that I don't know if possible we can talk about it in one more sessions.
So you mean it needs a deep, discussion, and we have to have a special session for it?
Of course,
it has
needs
a lot of aspects.
Yeah.
All right.
But generally, I say that the marriage is a bit different. Can I get married with a person who is not Muslim? The man that want to get married with a woman, and the woman who want to get married with a man, they have different, regulations and law that separately in separate sessions, inshallah, we talk about it.
So far you have pointed to this issue that, if they are not hurting you, they do not have any any atrocity against you. So we have to have a peaceful living with them. So how about the infidels or non-believers? Because already you said we're not allowed to kill non-Muslims. Are infidels included in this or not?
Exactly. So, before I go to answer your questions, let me mention the rest of the, ayah that I mentioned before. It is very, very nice too. Of course, because the ayah said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not prevent you and does not forbid you to be friend with them. And, to continue this ayah, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَتُقْسِطُوا إِلَيْهِمْ. It is very important. Means now, if you want to be friend with them, you must be just.
How?
Okay, to be just like the others. If I want to, communicate with you, with the others, those who are not Muslims, I, as a human, must be just. It is very important. Allah didn't say that because he is not Muslims, your behavior, you can get friend with them. You are friend to each other, but you should treat with them differently from the other parts. No, you have to, consider justice. It is very important. I have to be just if I want to be friend with those who are not Muslims. But to answer your own questions that you talk about infidels, okay, it is very important too, because the Holy Quran has different, ideas about those infidels. Unless they have not made any problem with you, they are the same as others. Peacefully we live together, unless they have not made any problems. But if they have made a problem, okay, that is different, of course. We should consider the case, what case is it, and how they have made a problem to us, and then we can treat differently. But the general idea of Holy Quran is that non-Muslims, infidels, and so on, if they have not made any problems for the Muslims, okay, and they are free in their activities, their worships, okay, and so on, it must be, the same as the others, living peacefully.
It reminds me about the time of the early Islam. I mean, at the beginning of Islam, when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was,
in Medina or Mecca,
in Medina, yeah. So, would you please let the audience to know about this? How was Prophet Muhammad was behaving with these infidels and as well Christians and Jews?
It goes back to the history, of course, okay? But let's say just...
Because Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is our role model. So that is why I think it's good for the audience to know about it.
I just mentioned one of the events of the history that happened at the time of the Prophet. Muhammad was sent out and was forced to leave his own, birthplace, which was Mecca. So he left Mecca and went, and it is very usual that he immigrate to Medina. But because those infidels and the others, all the times, they came to Medina to fight with the Prophet and prevent him from, propagating Islam and talking to the others, he decided to fight with them. When they came to Mecca, and it is very famous in history, it is called the conqueror of Mecca. At the conqueror of Mecca, when Prophet came to the city, he said, if they put, their guns aside, at that time sword or so on, if they put their guns aside, okay, they are safe. We do not fight with them. So they didn't say, now that we have entered the city, kill everything, destroy everything, and so on. He mentioned completely that children, women are safe, completely. And even those that they are infidels and non-Muslims, if they do not fight with us, they put their guns aside, they are safe too. So this is a very big role model of the Prophet, that, even in the battle that he had with the infidels of Mecca, when the Muslims, troops entered to the Mecca, it was the Prophet who said, children, women are safe completely, and even those infidels that they do not want to fight with us, they are even safe too. If they put their guns aside, they are.
Okay, in these last moments of our show, if you have for your final word something, please let us have it, and then.
Of course, because we say that we take a glance from different angles to the Muslim's duty. A Muslim, as a Muslim in a society, has special duties, but how to conduct non-Muslims? Peacefully, inshallah.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it again. Okay, dear audience and viewers, I hope you enjoyed this session of program. I hope to see you again in next session. Have a good time.